Hi everyone, I'm Emily and I wanted to share my handheld gaming systems today. On this channel I'll be mostly focusing on handheld systems because those are the systems I tend to play, but that's not to say I don't play other systems as well. I have a PS4 Pro with plans on buying a PS5 one of these days, and then back in the day I also had a PS2 that I played quite a bit on. But today I just wanted to sit back and chat about all of my handheld systems and I guess just sort of share my gaming journey with you all. So I'm going to go through these chronologically, and I'm going to start off with my first game console ever, excluding the PC, which back in the day I definitely played a lot of point and click adventure games as a child. But my first personal gaming console was the Game Boy Color, and this was the one I had. I'll do some close-ups so you can see all the lovely wear and tear it's experienced over the years, and sadly I am missing the back here. I used one of those rechargeable batteries because I was just going through so many AA batteries as a kid, because I brought this thing with me everywhere. I went on a lot of road trips with my family, and I was definitely playing this in the back seat for all those, and really just anytime I was allowed to take the system with me. And unfortunately I don't still own a lot of the games on this guy. I actually shared a lot of my Game Boy Color and just regular Game Boy games with my brother, and I'm pretty sure back when we were like in high school or something, he sold them all to GameStop to buy Xbox 360 games, which is a mistake, but it's what happened. I was, however, able to find one of them hidden away, so I must have hidden this away so he wouldn't sell it. That is this guy. So I adore the top-down Legend of Zelda games. We also had Seasons at some point. That must have found its way as trading credit. But yeah, these the Oracle games I think were my first introductory to Zelda games. So I have a lot of fond memories of playing those games, along with Pokemon Silver and Pokemon Yellow. Played a lot with those and using the trading cables to trade Pokemon. Mostly with my brother. I didn't have a lot of friends who played video games, or that I knew played video games when I was a child, but yeah, I had a lot of good times. And we also had a few other games that I recall. I remember we had Donkey Kong Country and Super Mario Brothers, and we must have had a few other ones. But the ones I primarily played were Pokemon Silver, a little bit of Pokemon Yellow, and the Oracle games. So I have a lot of fond memories for the Game Boy Color, given that it was my first system ever. But I want to say a few Christmas afterwards, I was gifted a Game Boy Advance. And as you can see, I had a bit of a purple theme going on. This one, thankfully, I have the back cover for still. And this is in slightly better condition than my Game Boy Color. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't have any of these older games from Game Boy Advance era. And I can't really recall what games we had back then either. I know for sure we had a Legend of Zelda Link to the Past, the port of that was bundled with the Four Swords game. That was definitely my favorite game, and still one of my favorite games of all time. And then other than that, I don't really recall what else we had other than the Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories game and that card-based game, which I don't think I ever finished as a kid, but I definitely, I think, put a lot of hours into that, trying to understand the mechanics. But we got that after after playing the two PS2 games, which were, again, childhood favorites. But yeah, after the Game Boy Advance and the PS2, I actually didn't upgrade to the new systems. I know my brother had the original Nintendo DS, which I think I borrowed, especially to play Nintendogs. I think he had the Chihuahua version. But yeah, at the time, I think that must have been around high school and then college. I did sort of fall off of gaming for a bit. I found other new hobbies that I think preoccupied a lot of my time, and I didn't have any extra income to really finance for the new systems and buy all the latest games. So yeah, I put those on the back burner, and it wasn't until grad school that I actually kind of revisited gaming, mostly because I needed a diversion, because grad school was a lot, and also because of the new game that they announced when I was attending grad school, and that was The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. And as I just mentioned, I loved and adored A Link to the Past, so when I heard they were making a sequel of sense, I had to jump on that and relive sort of all those fond memories I had with the original port on the Game Boy Advance. And with that, I also purchased the special edition. I think I got this from GameStop back in the day, and I played so much out of this. It was definitely good timing for me because that was the first time I had disposable income because I was a teaching assistant. There's a lot of great games that caught my attention and a lot of new genres that I never played before. And so I actually heavily collect for the 3DS, so I'll make a separate video of all the things I've collected over the years. But some highlights of the 3DS, apart from the Zelda titles, would be Fire Emblem Awakening. So that was the first time I ever played a tactical strategy RPG, and I fell in love. Like many others who their first introduction to the Fire Emblem series was through that game. And then I also revisited Pokemon again, I think with X and Y, because that came out around the same time as when I picked up the system. So that was fun to revisit the monster collecting genre again. And I will get into the rest of my 3DS games in a future video. I think I own over 50 now. I actually have a new one coming in later today. I might do a special video on the new 2022 Fragrance Story release that I'm very intrigued by. So I was thinking of doing an unboxing and a first impressions video. So we'll see how I'll work that in. So I'm going to skip ahead in the timeline a bit, but the current 3DS system that I'm using is this 3DS XL, and I actually picked this up last year because I figured the prices were going to be rising on these systems because they're getting harder and harder to find. And I got a good deal on this one. It was originally the kind of black gray one of the new 3DS XL model. I'll share some closer shots in the B-roll, but I really wanted to upgrade to the new 3DS XL model because I think it's probably the best model that they made for the 3DS line in terms of the 3D effect and a few other aspects. So I'm glad I did upgrade. And it was fun to decorate too. That was the first time I used a skin decal for one of my handheld systems. It was a pain to put on, but I'm pretty happy with the results. So this is actually the system I'm currently playing. I'm playing the Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor Overclocked game, the first one, and it's a lot of fun. It's actually my first Shin Megami Tensei game, and I decided to try this one first because it's the tactical game from that franchise. As I mentioned, I adore tactical RPGs, so this was right up my alley, and I think an appropriate one to choose first. And I've heard just great reviews about this game in particular, and I think they're definitely deserved. So I'm looking forward to playing more Shin Megami Tensei games because I have quite a few of them. But yeah, I'm going to move on to my next system, which I've talked about in my first YouTube video. That is the PS Vita. So I first bought this slim model, I think back in 2019. So it did take me a while to actually get the system. I think I was mostly put off because of how difficult it was to find games, and the proprietary memory card seems a little bit off-putting at the time. And I'm a little sad that I did kind of arrive to it so late. But the game that pushed me to buy a Vita, finally, was actually not a Western release. So not to make it too long of a story, I really adore the Trails game, hence the name of my channel. And in Japan, they released these kind of remastered versions of the original PSP games for Trails in the Sky. And I really wanted to play those on a handheld system rather than on PC. So I actually went ahead and bought the collector's editions of these too, which is definitely not necessary if you're using a modded PS Vita. You could just get around legitimately buying the games, but I'm a collector and I adore the Trails games, so I had to snag those. I really want to get the third box set that they released in Japan, but that goes for a lot of money, so I'm just waiting it out. And so what fans did was they took the Japanese version and then overlaid the English translations from the PC onto the Vita system. So it's definitely my preference to play the games that way than on PC. So that's why I modded this guy and was able to play the Trails games that way for the first time. So that was, I think, well worth it just for that alone. But I also discovered a lot of other visual novels and some other JRPGs, as well as some other classic games that the PS Vita offered. And as I shared in my previous video, I did buy the OLED version of the Vita to play physical games with. So when it comes to Vita game collecting, I've been trying to take a slower approach and just try to find good deals when I can and to snag those rather than paying well above the manufacturing price. So far I think it's been going well. I have 3 so far. I think once I accumulate a few more, I'll share a collection video of those. Okay, so now we're on to my final handheld gaming system, and that is the Switch Lite. And I bought this back in 2020, right when the pandemic hit. I actually didn't intend to buy a Switch system as soon as I did. I was sort of hoping that they would release a Switch Pro or an upgraded version. So I was waiting that out. I was actually playing my brother's system before picking up my Switch Lite. But yeah, a lot of my friends were getting into gaming for the first time, and I sort of wanted to experience that with them through Animal Crossing and a few other games. So I have no regrets actually picking up the Lite system, and I'm hoping that eventually they'll announce another kind of upgraded version of the Switch that I could pick up that would also be dockable. I've been tempted to get the OLED version, but I kind of want to wait things out a little bit longer because Nintendo likes to give new upgrades fairly frequently on their systems. And as you may have noticed, I do have a grip on here. It's the Satisfy grip, which I know that a lot of YouTubers talk about it. I actually picked one up on sale on Amazon just to try it out. And yeah, this thing's always on my Switch Lite. It's so much more comfortable, especially with action games. The Switch Lite has a nice form factor, but it's not the most comfortable. So yeah, I'm glad I finally purchased one of those and haven't gone back since. So, and when it comes to Switch games, this is definitely the system that I've collected the most games of at a very rapid pace, mostly because you can find Switch games for really good deals, especially recently. And of course, when it comes to collecting, the current gen system is usually the best system to collect for, just given accessibility and usually good prices. So yeah, a lot of my collecting efforts has been geared towards the Switch, and it's easily become one of my favorite consoles now. But yeah, I plan on getting into some of my favorite Switch games and handheld collections in future videos, so look forward to those. I have a pretty large selection of games of different genres. The genres I do prefer are JRPGs, visual novels, and platformers, with a few action-adventure games here and there too. So I think it'll be fun to kind of share the collection that I've sort of cultivated these last few years. But yeah, I hope this video was interesting for you guys, just to get a taste of sort of my gaming history, what systems I love, and which ones I currently collect and play for. So let me know down in the comments below if you guys share any similar memories when it comes to some of these systems, or what some of your favorite handheld systems are. I'd love to know in chat down below. And when it comes to collection videos, I think it makes sense to go over my 3DS collection first, given the news with the eShop closing. And the collecting landscape for the 3DS has just been rapidly changing. So I think it'll be a good one to get into at this time, and then maybe offer some recommendations if you guys are also looking to fill in some gaps in your 3DS collection. But that's everything, and until my next video, bye guys.